Hey everybody, sorry we're late. I had worked till 1:30. I got off on time, but was just running a little bit behind. Everybody was. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're back with Fura Hexa here from Germany to talk about Political John. Last week we talked about having some giveaways, and I just completely forgot. I had my mind elsewhere. So what we've done is the random numbers that LMR asked you for. I'm going to look at last week's chat and whoever number comments 27 and 35 are will be the winners of the t-shirt and the gift card respectively. Okay, and with that, I want to introduce our guest for today, Fura Hexa from Germany, and we're talking about her Political John video, which is, I think, very, very good. And even if you don't agree with it, it's just she really lays down a good argument for it and a good case, and it's just very well done. And we're talking about that. We started talking about it last week, and I want to let her introduce herself. And then we also have our guest, Mackenzie, and then LMR will round us out. And we'll continue where we left off, which I believe is at John's motives and whether or not there is going to be a baby, whether him and Daenerys are together or not. Yeah, they don't have to be together just because there's a baby. We've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
So with that, Fura Hexa, please.
Yeah, hi, Feuer Hexe from Germany. Thank you very much for having me again and for spending your precious time with me and with us. Yeah, thanks. You can find my channel, of course, Feuer Hexe on YouTube, and I'm normally doing reaction videos, and I have like 2 theory videos up now. Yeah, thanks very much.
And then, oh yeah, it was my turn. So, hello everybody. I do not currently have a channel, but I might be making a video sometime in the near future. And as some of you know, I am writing a story to hopefully be written out to everybody else besides the beta readers that I have today. So, yeah.
Awesome, and that is a great story too, by the way. Those who are at Cammy's Hangouts, they kind of get a sneak peek at it. It's really nice. It's really nice. I'm a kind of I'm saying I haven't finished it, by the way, Kenzie, but I'm looking for a good time to finish that reading because I want to give it my full attention. So
that's fine.
And from what I wrote, from what you wrote, from what I read, it's really cool. So I'm looking forward to it. So for myself, you can find me. Many places, I guess, here on Sundays, special streams with Jen, and Thursdays book club with Jen, and I do Westworld with Jenny Be Crazy. That's always fun on Mondays. It's Sunday right now, and it's the last episode, so I'm trying to deal with that. On my channel, Living My Rhapsody and Living Reviews, it's kind of quiet over there besides just the stream. So still writing book 2, book 1 available. We're going to do special stream one of the Sundays, so I'm looking forward to that. And today is going to be another great episode. Well, second part of Political John. So I'm looking forward to chatting with you ladies and with the chat. So it's going to be great. Jen, and whenever you're ready, because I know you're looking for those 2 winners.
I sure am, but I'm at a good spot.
So, all right.
Okay, well, let's just talk about, I think what we left off talking about last week was who believed that this hookup was going to result in some progeny. So is there going to be a magical baby, as I love the way Fura Hexa puts it, not, or is there going to be, and it doesn't really, it's no big deal because we see, maybe children that seem out of place all over the place in the story. Anybody?
Oh, me, I guess. I can
Sure.
be like, I think for the show, they'll go the fan service route and make the baby, but just because they want people to see Kit and Amelia have a child, which will support all of their fan base in real life, but I don't actually legitimately believe it. Like, if you take out the fan service element, no. But yes, at the same time.
Rita?
Yeah, I think it's a red herring. And but I think on the other side, we do need our last final Ned Cat John Sansa parallel. So yeah, whatever.
I mean, it actually, okay. I mean, a lot of people, I love your video. And that's what I'm saying. Like, whereas I think you may be right. And for the simple fact that certainly I can't be, you know what I mean? But that does make sense that would actually be the final parallel for them to meet for the whole Ned and Cat 2.0, truthfully, is a child that is not theirs, that they raise, except for, you know, but is that not too happy? Is that not too happy, kind of? Because no, you don't think so?
No.
It's not happy for the John and Danny fans, I can tell you that much. They'll be probably kicking and screaming, being like, really? D&D? Really? Really? Really?
Oh, they will definitely scream and kick next season.
There's a comment here.
I love the way you are all in with this, Brita. I mean, you are like,
yeah,
100%. I love that.
Yeah,
okay.
of course, sure.
My problem with it really is, oh my gosh, I just don't think they're going to do it for the TV show. I don't think they're going to do it for the TV show, but you know, I'm always wrong. And so I would really prefer for something like this to go down. But I just wonder also, is that not just too happy? And
it's not too happy.
It seems like what people want in a way. There's so many people who want it. There's a comment here from Summit Sand. It says here, if D&D create a baby when there won't be one in the books, I'll be pissed. So, yeah, like whatever it is, I don't know if I want the books to be different.
They can't do that if it's not George R. R. Martin's plan, because they said that they are following his end game, and they can't just if George R. R. Martin is not planning this, then they are not going to do this.
I hope so. I know there's always this fun part where if you watch the show, what is there in the books, and that's not even a thing to say, because show is just their interpretation and books are completely different, even in the images you get. So I don't mind if the show is exactly the same as the books. Actually, I would prefer it less confusing. I hope they really do it like that. Yeah,
well, especially with people's reaction on Twitter and like Instagram yesterday about what happened with Kit marrying somebody else. I won't go far into it, but
right. I wonder if that was in his contract. Like they probably thought, oh, we should have had him, have a contract. He won't get married until whatever.
I don't know exactly. But he's still filming, so and she's so who knows? But I won't go into that because Brito will be like, stop talking about it. Yeah. But
so, what do you think that's gonna Okay, so there's this debate. The topic today is the political John. So my thoughts were, okay, what if they go with the route of having that baby? And let's say, okay, we can say there's no baby. But my thoughts are, what if there's a baby? Even if everybody's saying no baby, no baby. Well, you can tell me there's no baby until there's no baby. But until there's no baby, there's a possibility of there being a baby. Okay. So John being so political right now because he is using his not just his brain, but what he learned from everybody, from what things he had done wrong and all the things that he messed up. What if there were a baby? To all of you ladies, what do you think? Give me your answers, please. And the chat, too. I want to hear that, too.
I don't really think it will make that much of a difference, really, for the story, whether there's a baby or not. I don't know.
Well, she'll probably give birth in the 5th episode, so there won't be that much time to see life with Kit and a newborn, or maybe even the first part of the 6th episode, so we won't get to see much if there is life with him as the newborn, so it doesn't really matter. Plus, even if she does have a magical baby, as Britta calls it, it doesn't mean that it's actually going to live. like her son with Drogo. So, like,
Okay, so let's say there is this baby and it's either magical, not magical, whatever, wings, no wings, tail, scales, whatever. And let's say she lives. Let's say Danny lives. Will he do anything different politically? Meaning, because he said in the past he doesn't want to father any bastards, right? So by not any bastards, like if there's a baby, well, too bad, because there's already a bastard, unless they get married. Do you think that he will basically say, never mind about bastards, I'm gonna not marry you because I changed, like as a person, I'm changing, and I don't care about. Do you think he will just not marry her if there were a baby, and him saying he doesn't want bastards?
It's the same situation, basically. Rob and his dad were in either way he goes. So, but I think he would marry her. I think he would marry her.
He would?
Yeah. Like, he wouldn't probably, because he's not that kind of person.
Yeah, because he wouldn't, because of that.
Mm. Okay, so he would marry her
probably before the child is born, like when she's showing.
Okay.
Obviously.
But wouldn't that mess things up politically?
I mean, yes, I don't know.
In a way. Like, unless they don't reveal who his father is, but that's like kind of pointless based on what you saw earlier. So, but probably John will probably be like, well, I kind of have to do it because I'm not the type of person to father a child outside of a marriage, maybe. So they're kind of just like, I guess I'll do it, even though everybody hates it, and like maybe the two of them together could be the catalyst for change for the Targaryen family. I don't know, but or he can be the sane one while she goes mentally, like when she goes off on her like crazy cuckoo tangents or whatever. So
what are your thoughts about, let's say he marries her because, I don't think he loves her. He's attracted to her. I mean, who wouldn't be? Come on. Technically, yeah. And then you have a baby with this attractive woman. I mean, it couldn't be worse. So he would marry her, let's say. But what if he finds out, either he's in love with somebody else? And obviously this is not, it's theory because there are only 6 episodes. Yeah. I mean, there's magic over there, but there's not that much magic in West. I don't want to mess those 2 words up. You know what I mean? In Game of Thrones, because I'm on Westworld right now. But so what if he basically does the same thing as his daddy? Says, okay, love you, lady. We had a kid, but I'm gonna annul this marriage. Bye. I found somebody else. I'm gonna have a baby with her. Right. Would he do the same thing?
We get you. Oh.
For politics, like if he right now currently he knows they know that they would be combining Targaryen and Stark, or kind of Stark. Well, Snow, and then he finds out, and he marries her and whatnot, and then he finds out that nope, they're both Starks or Targs, and they need to be some other alliances. Would he divorce her? Being so political?
It's like divorce valid in marriage. It's just annulment. It's not really like. But do the old gods believe in divorce? Because I don't know if it's the 7 that believe in it.
I mean, I don't know, but we ain't got time for marriages and divorces and shit.
Yeah, no, even in the book, I'm just talking about book or show, wherever.
In the show, the John and Danny fans would want an episode-long marriage of, as Justin said, picking the dress, picking the cake, doing this, that, the other thing. And then finally, there'll be a whole ceremony of them saying, like, all the words very quiet and slow. Like, all of this. Like, no, we don't have time for that. So maybe they get married, but it's like a 10-second scene like we had with Rob and Talissa / Jane Westerly.
I think you know what? I think it's all just going to be a bit more straightforward than that. You know what I mean? And that's what I think about it. And so, I mean, I would just have to say this. If you see it going to where there's not going to be a magical baby or what, you know, let's say like what you're saying, like, okay, nothing happens. They just have sex. Like if that's all it is or whatever, then I think that it'll be fine like that. But I don't think that they would devote so much time to the story already. But I mean, definitely and okay, what do you guys think about this? I've read several articles this week where George R. R. Martin is saying the book's going to be different. I mean, there's no question in his mind. The book's going to be different. Who else has seen one of the 2 or 3 of these articles that are around?
I haven't. Wow.
Yeah, well, he also said a while ago that the top 5 that he had originally aren't actually safe anymore. And the top 5 includes Jon, Dany, Arya, Tyrion, and Bran. So any of the top 5 could die too. So special. So.
Wow, so nobody's safe right now.
None of the people that
are. I wouldn't think so. I really wouldn't. Then maybe I saw another article with him where he was having a conversation with the lady who writes that Outlander series. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It comes on Starz or whatever. Yeah. They were at some, you know, kind of book con or I don't know. They were at something, you know what I'm saying? And they had a conversation and he said something to her like, have you ever killed a character and then realized that you needed them to kind of wrap up something in a story arc? And she was like, no, you know, but you can always paint yourself out of a corner when, you know, you've got some elements of fantasy inside, you know what I mean? And that's what she said. So I don't know, you know, it just seems to me that they're going to be different, most definitely.
I think George R. R. Martin is pretty pissed with DnD because they have done so much bullshit to his story, and I think he's definitely going to do a lot of things very differently. I think he gave them certain plot points, and they kind of have to write their own stuff to get there. And that's pretty much their due. So I definitely think that the end game will be the same, but the road will be different.
There's a comment here. Again, I'm in a chat again, and a funny comment from Baba Husky. So he says he's gonna knock her up and fall in love with her, only to be forced into unwittingly marrying a terrible Tully fish spawn.
Oh, stop it.
Poor John. All right, Bubba. All right. That's fine, though. I mean, okay. You know, people really hate the Tullys, don't they, though? I mean, you never hear anybody say anything good about the Tullys unless they're talking on the Blackfish.
Yep.
Yeah, he was great. He's
yeah.
They made him really good in the show. Yeah, I liked it.
Jon will never ever marry Daenerys. Come on.
Oh no.
It's
we didn't
powerful,
say that.
Tully.
No, we didn't say that. The comment said
That's not what
Tully.
we said no, somebody was saying that. I'm sorry. Somebody was saying that well, read the comment again, Elamar.
Oh, let me see. Let me go back to it. So he said, Baba Husky says he's gonna knock her up, meaning Dany, and fall in love with her, Dany, only to be forced into unwillingly marrying a terrible Tully fish spawn. So, yeah, doesn't say anything about marrying Dany. So I don't know what would be worse. I mean, I know what would be worse, but. Poor Jon.
Right. I think either way.
There we go.
I think either way, he's just going to do what he has to do. I do think that.
Yeah,
I do think Jon has gotten to where he's at kind of that point where, you just have to do what you have to do.
Exactly.
Yep.
And related to this, we have to talk about this whole duty honor issue because that's pretty much what it all comes down to. His theory, what he's willing to do to achieve his goals, his mission, and yeah,
It
pretty
could
much.
also be that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Like
And,
the mission could also be. Oh,
yeah,
never mind. I'll shut up.
whether or not his also precious honor is more important to him than saving the world.
Right.
Yep.
I agree. I think, you know, he's gotten to, and we've already seen Sansa get to this point though, you know, a few seasons, you know, she really has kind of matured faster than Jon in a sense, almost. And she gets to this point back, you know, after the whole Bolton situation, I feel like, where she's just like, you know, you just have to do certain things to survive. Whether you will do them or not, that's the question. You know what I mean? And I think he's seeing some of that as well.
Yeah, she kind of grew up from her experience in King's Landing, and especially I think with the Boltons, that kind of really pushed her to understanding that life is not fair and that people will use you for whatever means necessary, including like Ramsay, like using her for her body and not for anything else. So Jon's been kind of naive to the world essentially because he's been up at the wall where they kind of have no political allegiances or alliances. So it's kind of like he's learning what she learned a bit, but faster.
I really think that Jon's storyline in season 7 and Sansa's storyline in season 7 are pretty much mirroring each other. They are both. She's playing the game, obviously, and I'm absolutely sure he learned to play the game. And I read a post recently about how their scenes are kind of edited, like they follow each other, and there are a lot of parallels in their tactics, and you know. It's really cool, and I really think, you know, everything Sansa did last season was to protect her family, and everything Jon did last season was to protect his family and his people. I'm absolutely sure.
Very good, and you know, and you make, like I said, nobody can argue with why you think. I don't think with why you think this. It makes a lot of sense, 100%, and I hope that is what happens. I do. Shoot, I dropped my mouse. Okay.
There's a comment again. In the comments still. Samid Sand writes, "There is still a political story to tell according to the actors, so it won't just be defeating the White Walkers, and Cersei will not be the only foe."
That makes sense, and also then Samid goes on to say that Sansa has the most allies at this point. And then Bubba Husky says, Jon doesn't need Sansa for our allies. They're his too. But what about the Vale, though? Because I really feel like if Sansa wanted to be like, I'm going to go
Vale really,
and they would kind of back her. Yeah. And let me see.
Yeah, I feel like the Vale really backs Sansa.
I do as well. I do
because like Baelish backed Sansa, so by process of that, I guess.
No, but not only that, she is blood cousin to their lord, and therefore, and not only that, Jon is not even illegitimately, not even you know, to these particular relatives, and so that's why I think Sansa really does hold the Vale, and I guess the Riverlands are actually hers as well,
especially because they kind of consider her like the heir to basically all of the North. And
well, no, Edmure's still alive. That's right. They're Edmure's technically, the Riverlands, but the
I don't think we'll see him again. You won't see Edmure again. I don't think.
As a matter of fact, he's in that show Outlander as like one of the lead people. So I mean, probably not. I really like that actor. He was also in Rome. I like him.
Yeah, and you always have to consider what happens after everyone learns that Jon is a Targaryen, a legitimate Targaryen, because, you know, Sansa is already, she gathered the entire North behind her. She's got the Vale behind her. That's pretty huge. And yeah, Jon doesn't have any claim to anything really up there in the North. And that will shift dramatically next season.
There was a question here, and it's talking about how will Dany have to be nice and make nice with Sansa because she kind of has control of most of the army, even though Jon is kind of like the figurehead. I don't know. It's like
I think she will. I think she will try to be nice to her. I think that would be a mistake to not be.
Like kind of have to fight.
Well, they're two powerful women over there. I mean, just because Sansa,
Sansa has survived Cersei.
Exactly.
So actually, if you want to be the friend of your enemy's enemy, then that's it right there. And she can tell you more than basically anybody else alive, except for Tyrion or Jaime, but on a different level even, because they're both women. So I think that being unfriendly to Sansa and kind of putting that, if she can win Sansa, by Sansa acknowledging her, basically that will set the tone for how the other people in the North do. That's how the world works. That's how society's doors work too. So it would be a detriment to herself. But I tell you, Daenerys, I can only see this being played one of two ways. Either somehow she does give Sansa her due and doesn't snub her and they're on equal footing, or either she's going to come at her with that crazy, I am this bullshit. And Sansa's going to be like, stop, with that. Because then that would remind her of like some Joffrey shit. You know what I mean? Like,
because then she could be like, you can say all of those things, but people don't actually care about that. Like, they don't care about all of your titles. You just have to prove it. You can't just be like, I'm the laundry list of items. And you can feel like afterwards, like show them. And also like that, like almost, I guess the term for it, but the opposite way is like skirt chasing. So she might be like, you're kind of skirt chasing Jon a little bit. So like, get to know me and my family more, especially if you want to be a part of this family kind of thing. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, because I tell you what, I can't see this chick's identity I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, her whole life she's been living basically with the goal to come back to this continent and, rule it and claim, what she feels like was taken from her family. And she's not the heir anymore. And that would cause an identity crisis in the most strong of people, I believe. So I just can't wait to see how that really shifts. So there is going to be a lot going on in this, next season, because not only Arya's reaction. We know Arya doesn't like interlopers.
Yeah. What do you think? Speaking of Sansa, I'm still wondering. Really, there are theories that Jon and Sansa have been in touch with each other after all. Maybe somehow, off screen. As you know, I'm absolutely sure that Jon did not betray the North last season, and I'm really sure that. He must, we know that he gave Sansa the North before he left, which he said, the North is yours until I return. And he must have pictured a scenario where he might have bent the knee, but he knows that his people won't follow Daenerys anyway. So he must know that they will support Sansa. And maybe that's what he intended all along, that she becomes queen in the North, whatever he does. And I'm absolutely sure he also sent her some clues in his letter at the end. Do you think that, Sansa might already be in on Jon's plan or something? I still don't really know.
That would make a lot of sense. That would make a lot of sense.
It actually would, because, I mean, it would make a lot of sense. Let me ask y'all this, and I think I did see something online where people were trying to figure that letter out. There's one letter in particular that he sent. Do we know?
The letter for after he bends the knee, that we made an agreement with Cersei. Yeah, I feel like that's almost like contingent on if her army survives going north and fighting the White Walkers and doing this and that, then everybody can go south.
Yeah. there are a lot of conditions in this letter. He said, if we survive the war, I have pledged our forces to Daenerys, which means that if Jon and Sansa die, then the North won't have to beg support Daenerys anymore, probably.
Yeah. As well as, like, because her army's not equipped for the North, so he's probably like, yeah, these people, they don't look like they're ready to go up in the
Well, that is a huge joke too. I keep hearing that in different channels. So there was I mean, we know Sansa, she is getting everything ready for the winter. As we know, she's being a great lady of Winterfell right now, when thinking about food and clothing and lighting the what do you call it? Everything with
provisions.
So and then we have
provisioning.
Yes, yeah, and then we have Dany, who sends her the Thraki, who have zero like, they don't even own anything with a long sleeve probably. So Sansa is prepared. Dany is not. I mean, we saw her in this beautiful coat. I did not see any Dothraki in anything that resembles any winter clothes.
Well, I mean, we have had this come up several times in our story, and even portrayed a bit in Stannis' camp. If you go to the North, ill prepared for the North, you just don't stand a damn chance. So.
Yeah, and you know what I was wondering, at the beginning of the season, Jon said to Sansa that the Lannisters have a southern army, they will never march this far north. And maybe that also played into his suspicion of Cersei, that she all of a sudden pledged her forces to the north when he knows, she's got a southern army, maybe they won't join us after all, because he's not stupid.
Yeah, Dany burned too many things. Samit says Dany is going to want the North supplies after burning a ton of food. Yeah. She burned too many things, and too many people just kind of got a little fire happy.
And I'm sure the Vale has good provisions as well, because we know that Littlefinger wouldn't have left anything like that to chance. Because I feel like he was prepared to tuck in the Vale if he had to at any time. Probably.
That's like going back to like the whole Stannis and the North. It's kind of like what Brita mentioned in her video about how Dany is kind of like Stannis and Jon is like Mance. But that also parallels to Stannis burning or losing his child, and then he ends up dying in the process. So maybe that's another part that's reflected in
oh my God.
8.
There's a theory that Daenerys might burn Lyanna Mormont, maybe, or that she might burn someone who we really came to like as a character. Because if that's happened, if she burns someone that the audience really likes, then that might shed a whole different light on her, and that would really cause some major. Even a bigger conflict than there is already.
And with that, even for Jon, it'll really be a major conflict, because Lyanna Mormont was literally one of the only people that was like, I will give you my last like 62 men to go fight the Boltons and like all of this stuff. And she's like the only person who's like first started calling him king in the North and everything. So it'll like be kind of like him losing Ollie again, but more emotional, because he has kind of this more attachment to her, I guess, maybe in a sense.
That would be super nuts. I mean, I hope to hell not. And I hope that Jon wouldn't allow that shit. You know, like, yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he wants, because she won't listen anyway.
Well, that's true, but I don't see them surviving through something like that. I mean, and maybe we're set up for that. Maybe that's why we get that whole Varys Tyrion conversation in the show about you've got to get her to listen, because I can't see, like, you know, he's more merciful than that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there was, I think, an article or something about how Kit wants to play more of like a evil kind of like character, maybe for like Jon. I don't know if that's trolling or not. So he could like be like, haha, like let's be like evil psycho Targaryens together. So
Yeah,
I
he
don't know.
said. I think he said that Jon would become a little darker, really, which would make total sense after his resurrection and everything. I think we already saw that in season 7.
Yeah. But I also think that like once he finds out that probably Dany burned his Sam's father and brother, who might be like, like I have to play face and pretend that I still like her, but Sam, I actually feel bad for you, and I will get avenged for your family, even though I hate them, so too, or whatever kind of thing, maybe.
Well, Sarah's in the chat, y'all. Hey, Sarah.
Hey,
Sarah says, well, we've got Lysa always keeping the veil out of the fray, basically. And then we've got her again saying Dany roasting little Lyanna would be a game changer. And then, hey, David, and hey, Mr. Suervo. Nice to see you. Hey, Patrick. Okay, yeah. Season 7, Jon was a puppy, no?
No.
7 puppy. I don't know if he was a puppy. He was a puppy in season 1. And maybe
he pretended to be a puppy.
Yes, he was a puppy seasons 1 and part of 2 until I met like the wildlings and was like, okay, this shit is crazy. So yeah. But I feel like when Tormund actually has a full conversation with Jon after meeting Daenerys and finding out who she is to him, not just the person that he slept with on the boat, but that he's his aunt will be like, so now you have to fight the one who burned a bunch of people, apparently, and now you're going to have to fight the person that's your aunt and you've slept with her. Wait, what? He'll be like, say what?
Yeah, I think he listened to Sansa. And who said it, Jen? You said that somebody mentioned it, or was it you, Brita, who mentioned it, that he might have talked to Sansa a little bit before, and they kind of are together on it. Because that conversation when they were kind of overlooking the courtyard.
Right.
He told him some good things, and hopefully he took it to heart.
Yeah, okay. They must have had some off-screen goodbye scene where they were talking between the scene where he said that he would go to Dragonstone and between him actually leaving Winterfell. They must have had some conversation in between.
Samit Sand in the chat says political Jon is the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. My phone cut off. Political Jon is the only thing that makes sense. Otherwise, Jon has just become another of Dany's adoring pawns. That's a very good point as well, because, and so
he then basically becomes Dario, but with more political advantage, really.
And Miss Qwerty Pie says, we'll find out in season 8 that he was a snake in season 7.
Yeah.
Yep.
And maybe that's the dark part that we were kind of hearing about. When because in the books he's still dead, right? But then on the show, he's alive, and hopefully that'll be the same for the book. But so if he were to be different, a little bit different, that might be the difference. Like darker, that might be
that makes a lot of sense as well. That could be key.
And so many people seem to have forgotten that he was dead. He was resurrected. We haven't really seen any change in his character, really, at least not that I know of. And maybe it's more. I think it's really, really subtle and on the inside.
Let's go to Sarah C in the chat. He approached Dany with Davos and puppy eyes, and bent the knee from laying down vulnerable with puppy eyes, and showed up for boat sex with puppy eyes. He was playing that. So Sarah 100% agrees with you, Fiora Hexa.
Yeah.
And all in the chat. And let's go to Eduardo. And Eduardo would know a thing or two about this. Love makes people act differently. It certainly does. And I don't see that. That's not, I definitely didn't say he was in love with her. I don't think he's in love with her. I think anything that happens between them from here till the end of the story is out of his sense of responsibility.
And yeah, Patrick Cudmore says that here too, kind of different words, but he says, John ain't no puppy. He is now a wolf on the scent, savvy and determined. I would say so.
Yeah.
I hope that may be a shocker to a lot of people. Although probably not those who don't follow any chats or don't listen to anything besides just tuning into the show. But that will be a shocker for some people. Find out that John is not the same John. He is different, and we like it, but we don't know if we like it because he's not John anymore.
People also try to forget that he kind of was manipulative towards Ygritte, and he ended up having sex with her
actually he did, because he knew. I'm sorry, but when I watched the show, I feel the whole time that she was always trying to show him she would do anything for him, and he did love her, but he always knew the entire time he was going to go back to the Night's Watch.
Yeah, so it's basically the same thing, even though people are like, John would never do that to Dan. He blah 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 blah. He
wasn't in love with Ygritte when he was sleeping with her. He did that, because he knew it would gain the trust of the wildling.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, Samid. John fell in love with Ygritte, but still betrayed her. This time he played the part better. Dany loves him, but he has an even more important mission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just it makes really absolutely no sense that he forgets all about his life mission for no reason, really.
Same as she won't forget about hers. I mean, yeah. So
they have completely conflicting, different priorities and life missions. It can never work out.
Yeah, and plus John doesn't like the South. And Dany wants to rule the
And Daenerys' priority never changes. It remains the Iron Throne until the very end. She didn't go north because she wants to fight the White Walkers. She went north because she thought she got her stupid ceasefire and because she likes Jon. She didn't go north because she wants to fight the White Walkers, because if she wanted that, then she would have helped Jon after the White Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Dany hooks up with the worst people. I mean, I understand why she was with Drogo, but that whole Dario thing, I just didn't get that.
Was kind of, he was there and she was there.
Yeah. In the book, it's like she marries that other guy too, and yeah. But okay.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about, I think I mentioned it a couple times already. When I first saw, that was not the last season, but so Jon, he died, he's alive and he's different. And we were all thinking, how is he going to be like, right? So the Battle of the Bastards that happened, did anybody else notice that it was very strange? Like he was as if somebody was pulling him away from dying. Like not only that did he die before and he was, or he came back to life, but as if somebody was pulling him to the side every time he was gonna die. Like I'm thinking, oh my god, like how did he? And he was even shocked. Like he looked around, like, and something flew by him, and he's like, oh my god, I was just there. And then something else happened. So like, oh my god, I was just there. It didn't kill me. And so over and over and over, like as if somebody is pushing him on this board, like like a pawn, like just making him like, okay, you go here and then you go here. Okay, you're gonna die here, but you go here so you don't die. What do you think about that? Is he kind of death proof right now?
You think? I was thinking that he that the Lord of Light might have guided him on that battlefield or whatever, because when those arrows were like raining down on him and he was never hit, and there was this theory back then that the Lord of Light was kind of watching over him. And also Alistair Thorne said to him after his resurrection, he said to him, you lords know you will be fighting their battles forever. And I was thinking, if that means, does that mean that he's immortal now or what?
So Terry T says plot armor, and I thought it's a little bit different than plot armor. because I actually saw his face, and he was like, okay, like that was weird. I didn't die. Like, and then like, oh, that's weird. I didn't die here either. So if they wanted to do a plot armor only, I don't think they would make it so obvious that he didn't die on that battlefield. They were like trying to just like shove it in our faces, like, okay, see, he's not dying. See, he could have died here, but we didn't make him die. Like, hey, and he's surprised too. It's not just us; he's surprised. So I'm thinking there's something into that.
Yeah.
What about Kenzie?
It's probably like the Lord of Light's kind of like shield over him, almost, that like because of who, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because of who he is, the Lord of Light's like, I have to protect this human who's like the perfect pact of ice and fire or whatever, as well as it's slightly plot armor, because I don't think they would raise him and then make him die again, like all in one season. But that's like the TV show thinker in me.
Yeah. What about you, Jen?
I mean, he's the luckiest son of a bitch on the battlefield, right?
Yeah.
I mean, good Fortuna. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, he did say he doesn't want to be resurrected or brought back again, and he's like, "Oh, really? You don't want to be resurrected if you die? Well, then how about you don't die then? There you go."
Yeah. How about you're not allowed to die anymore?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, you don't want to come back? Well, okay, sure, I won't bring you back because you won't die, dude.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So, Brita, question for you. What would be something, let's say, you wouldn't want to see him do to kind of, what would make it like that he failed us at being political?
What I don't want him to do?
Yeah, like in, either in books or in a show, like, let's say show starts, season 8 starts, and then you see Jon doing something stupid and you're like, what is wrong with you? Don't you learn? What would be that thing if you would say, like, snap out of it? Come on. Be political.
I think he will definitely continue what he did in season 7, but he won't really mean it like he didn't mean it in season 7. So I don't really think that's difficult.
I feel like I have one for you.
I have to think about that for a moment.
Sure, yeah. So, Mackenzie?
I feel like this could be one for Brita as well. It's like opening scene is Jon and Dany waking up in bed together and be like, we're still gonna get married tomorrow, and then everybody will be like,
yeah, but then I would think, okay, that's bullshit. He's he's continuing.
And then they actually get married, and then they live happily ever after. That's
of course, that would be the one worst case scenario. But whatever he says, whatever he does, I would always think, okay, that's bullshit anyway. He's still playing the game. So yeah, if he gets pushed into some marriage or whatever, that
okay. Samit Sen writes, betray the Starks. So I'm assuming that's an answer, that what you would not want Jon to do, to betray Starks. Yeah. And then he continues, imagine if Jon picks Starks over Starks. He, for some reason, can't take his own advice he gave to Theon. Exactly. Like, he said this wonderful thing to Theon. I would not want him to go against what he said.
Yeah, but the thing is that I absolutely don't think that will happen. So he will. I don't think he will choose his real family over.
Thank you. I don't. I don't know what books I've been reading. If Jon goes Targaryen on us, I'm gonna just quit. I'm gonna just stop.
Yeah. This week, someone said to me this week that I was completely misunderstanding Jon's character. Jon Snow does not lie, because he's too good. He doesn't lie, and he's meant to rule with Daenerys, and they will move to King's Landing. And if I don't see that, then I'm completely misunderstanding his character. So I probably don't. Yeah, you probably shouldn't listen to me anyway. So
John's never gonna go south. We already know this.
yeah.
Like he told Tyrion, he's like, why would anybody live there? Like, even though there's like a million people and the weather's decent all the time, no one would want to live there. So
Yeah, that would be really totally completely unsatisfying for me to see him do that. To see him suddenly go, oh yeah, I'm going south. I'm going to call myself Aegon Targaryen. Yeah, cool. And I'm going to leave my family because even though I'm going to leave my family and I'm going to leave the north because of reasons. And yeah, that would totally ruin everything.
There's a comment here.
Baby.
Yeah, and there's a comment along that with the chat from Squashed Eyeball. Oh my gosh, what a cool name. Okay. Well, then there's a comment. So it says, I think one of the worst mistakes Jon can do is to travel south for a second time without dragon backup. He should learn from Sansa after season 7 if he remains honorable and innocent.
We
so you cannot give him anything bad. True.
As well as Sarah put happily ever after equals worst case scenario, like cry laughing face. So yeah.
That would be weird, right? If we saw everybody survive, like if nobody dies, okay, who would be disappointed? I want people to die over there. I'm horrible, but like I guess
we can't have a Disney ending. I'm sorry.
No, we need somebody to die over there. Like,
someone important, someone that we care about has to die, and not just because I'm the Sansa person over here, but Sansa cannot die because that doesn't fulfill. That basically reverts all of the Me Too movement, and HBO would be like boycotted afterwards.
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
No more Starks will die anyway.
I think Sansa survives. I always have, and. I won't change that. Sansa is there's so many clues to it, in my opinion, like so many times, and she really talked herself out of so many horrible situations. I just God, that would be awful if she does, though. I mean, that would upset me probably.
Yeah,
I guess.
And Johnny Be Crazy writes here. He writes it better be an extinction level event.
Yeah, like all of them or none of them die. I'm sorry. That's how it's going.
No, I don't want to die, but I've always thought that she makes it. So
a time for wolves. A time for wolves.
Yeah.
And the pack survives.
The pack survives. Sophie Turner's The Pack Survives tattoo, which of course is totally not spoiling these.
Yeah, and Sarah C says post-traumatic Stark disorder. Yeah, we can't have any more of those deaths.
I'm really, the Starks, we know that everything started with the Starks and all the shit that happened to them. I'm absolutely sure that, not just A Time for Wolves is coming, but this is, I think we are seeing a new generation of Starks that is more cunning, more advanced than the previous generation. They are taking out their enemies. They are sticking together. They are watching out for each other. And I think we are definitely seeing a new generation of Starks that will rise again at the end of the story.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. There's a comment here from Sonia Kenny. It says all the soap baby stuff. George doesn't write like a romance novelist. There's only 6 episodes, and let me see, it's moving. And as John would say, there is no time for that. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. What made us fall in love with this show? First of all, there was a lot of violence. There was a lot of sex. There was a lot of politics involved, and some not even mystical, and some magic. So I want that to be true. I don't want a lot of shows start with a lot of violence, a lot of sex, and then they take away their violence, or they take away sex just because people are hooked and they're going to be there hoping for more violence or more sex, right? So, and that's fine. That's all good. But then if they're ending a show, I want them to end it with the way we fell in love with it. To give us violence, give us sex, give us politics, and give us some darn magic.
Yeah. Yes, and also, I think we also fell in love with the story because it's so unconventional. The storytelling is so unconventional and it's so unpredictable, and there are twists and turns and shockers. And this political John theory, it plays exactly into this. I think this would absolutely match why we fell in love with the story in the first place. It would exactly fit George R. R. Martin's storytelling, this punch in the guts, unpredictable storytelling, and I think it would absolutely make sense in this regard alone.
Yeah, it's like you can make the comment of like Danny brings up, we gotta get married, I'm pregnant with the baby, and you're like, got no time for that, gotta fight the White Walkers. They're coming. They're at last hearth or car hold, let's go.
The comment here from Sonia Kenny, talking about the political John chat. It is. Why would the show let John do a book rub? Exactly. Marry the woman he knocked up. Sansa told him to be smarter than Rob and Ned. Yeah, I'm hoping for John to be kind of because they all of them say, oh, I don't want to be this, I want to be that as children, but they develop and change. So just because over there, at least I'm not speaking for myself or anybody here, but over there, John needs to be smarter. Just because if there's that baby, I'm not saying there's a baby. Maybe there's not. Until we see it, we won't know. But just because he got her pregnant doesn't mean he has to marry her, especially if kingdoms are, in question. I don't want him just doing, because I never wanted to father a bastard. Well, too bad, you make plans and life happens, dude. There you go.
Yeah, I have another question for that, or another point, because it goes back to this entire honor issue, because it was so hammered down that Jon Snow he's so good, he cannot lie, he's so honorable, but then she told him twice that he can't have children, so I assume that he simply didn't think that she would become pregnant. So if he's truly so unbelievably honorable, then why did he sleep with her in the first place without asking her maybe for her hand in marriage beforehand? Because then he wouldn't risk fathering a bastard, and if he's so in love with her, and if he's so honorable, then why didn't he propose a marriage before he was sleeping with her?
Like they could have had like a whole parallel
point, because they could have easily just made an alliance like that. So I think we talked about that last time, didn't we?
I think he's not as honorable as everyone thinks he is, and B, he simply didn't think she could become pregnant because she told him twice.
Like they could have easily made a whole proposal of marriage scene when Rhaegar and Lyanna, like it flashed to Rhaegar and Lyanna like getting married, like kind of like that would have been a real parallel of the Wolf and the Dragon and the Wolf and the Dragon. But they just decided to go with a 30 seconds boat sex scene.
Yeah, but what do you guys think about this whole honor issue with Jon?
That he's too honorable to lie.
Is it because we know that's not true? Because if he gets
he can lie,
but he gets often compared to Ned, and even we know Ned was able to lie. He was lying to everyone for 17 years, even his own life. And both Jon and Ned, they can lie when it's necessary. They can betray when it's necessary, when it serves a greater purpose. So I think this whole he's so honorable. It was really a distraction, really, for the audience, because we are supposed to think he's so honorable he cannot lie, when in fact he can lie. What do you think about that?
I agree with that, because I agree with that. He lies when he needs to lie, when it's absolutely a game changer. He does too.
Yeah, and he, like I said in the video, he tried these reasonable approaches with Daenerys, because at the first meeting and then in the cave, he tried to talk to her. He tried to make her do the right thing, but she refused to do that. And at the end, there was really no other he had no other options anymore. He had to manipulate her because she was not.
Well, let's not even call it manipulation. He just changed his tactics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But until the very end, she never became fully committed to his cause, and that's the problem, really. Yeah. The priority was still, the Iron Throne was still her priority, and that was the big problem, really. Mm-hmm. And at the end, I wonder, what else was he supposed to do, really? He tried everything, and she was still not committed to his cause. So what were his choices? He didn't really have any choices left.
I think he adapted, and I think he changed his way and just kept that facade of being honorable. This is what he is using, and he's been doing that. I don't know if he must be natural at this, because he's not even kind of, at the wall, kind of already settled in, and he's already lying. He's already doing his stuff, which is fine. I mean, he needs to do what he needs to do. Starks, if you're a complete Stark, then you're gonna die. Somehow. Ned should have just kind of learned his lesson sooner. But Jon has still time, and he's developing, and he is using his reputation and his family's reputation to further his cause. And I think it's good for him. It's not right. Yeah. It's not right, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, but what's the other option, really? Because everyone is acting like manipulating poor sweet Daenerys would make him the worst monster ever. But if you consider what's at stake here, he's doing this to pretty much save everyone in Westeros, and it's really so ridiculous that everyone is acting like, oh my God, no, that would make him the most horrible person ever.
It's just because I think there are like a lot of people who blindly support the Daenerys side of this whole story, and they're like, Jon Snow being evil, what? So
yeah, but look at all the shit that she has done. With Dario, she was using Dario for ages for her personal pleasure, and she was manipulating Jon just as well.
It's almost a double standard, I think, that people unwillingly put on that whole idea, I guess, that Dany can't do it, but everybody else can be manipulative. Like we had mentioned with the whole bending the knee on the first meeting is outrageous, and you're Jon's like, this is outrageous, you can't do it, but Tyrion's like, yes you can, totally. But when Jon's like, I need help fighting these ice zombies that are gonna kill everybody that you want to rule over, it's like, no, that's unreasonable. So it's kind of a double standard that Team Dany likes to bring out, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
There are some comments in a different language. If you want to look at them, Bria,
that's German.
Maybe you can. I'm assuming yes. I'm assuming it's for you.
German.
So
my German subs.
Awesome.
Cool. That's great. Okay. Well, I'm in the chat. Wait, I've got a good comment here. Okay. So Sonia says, hold on. I love the German lady. She knows what she's talking about. The rest need to bone up on what both George R. R. Martin and D&D. I love this. This is like reading mean tweets. D&D said the last season will be as George R. R. Martin imagined it. D&D don't care about fan service in season 8.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Sonia. I completely do agree with you. That's what the chat is about. It's about a video that Fiora Hexa made, and we're talking about it. We may have got off topic a little bit. Please stay and enjoy the chat, but know that nobody here needs your approval. Okay. Let's see. I don't do any kind of spoilers either. Like, I don't look at leaked scripts or, I occasionally look at something he said or whatever, but okay, whatever.
Yep.
Okay, does
Some
anybody
methane
have any?
dying.
So I think it would be kind of disappointing to see if DND actually did do fan service. There was a lot of fan service already in season 7 from, I think they've been doing a lot more of that. So if I actually, my opinion, and it hasn't changed, and that's why I said I want them to kill who they need to kill, and if there's this happily ever after, I would be disappointed. But I don't know what George has in mind. So we'll go
Plus, we won't
whatever.
even-
You know, the
Plus, I
last I heard, and this is as much as I know about the topic, he took some time out after like season 4 or something, saying he was going to finish those books, and I still haven't seen a book. And that's about as much as I've paid attention to how George feels about it or not. I mean, I think it was maybe Ernest Hemingway is quoted with saying that when you sell your shit to Hollywood, just go and throw it over a fence and then cash your check, because I mean, there's nothing you can do after, you know, you've sold them the rights to whatever. So that's about all I know about it, admittedly.
Yeah.
Depressing to have to compare stuff to what you may have heard in the news. I don't like to get that deep with it.
Just don't be so pessimistic. They won't do fan service stuff in season 8. I don't think they did that much fan service in season 7. I think of course on the surface, but beneath the surface there was more to this, more to everything. Yeah. Have faith.
Yeah, I feel like the fan service part of it was just like the whole, like, if you don't believe it, the political John thing of how like John is like gazing into Daenerys' eyes and like all of this other BS.
And I
like
have
to ask you. Got some. Okay, go ahead.
I have to ask you another question for this, because as I said before, I was told this week that I completely misunderstand John's character. And does it make sense for you? His entire behavior changes completely between leaving Dragonstone, going on the White Hunt, and seeing Daenerys again. He's completely subservient after the failed White Hunt because her dragon died, and he needs to suck up to her. Do you think it makes sense? Do you think, if the political John theory is not true, do you think everything makes sense for his character the way he played out in season 7? Do you think it's understandable that he's suddenly all head over heels in love after the failed White Hunt just because she came to the rescue? Does that make sense? Is that logical? Or what do you think?
I mean, when you put it all, that's why I said, like, at first, I did believe just what I saw was going on. And the reason I believe that, I have my reasons. I'm a book reader also, but I did believe it. But then when I saw your video, and I know that your 2 videos, and I know that you said you're not trying to convert anybody. I mean, I can see it going that way, and I think it would make for a better story and tie everything in nicely. But at this point, like with like those kind of, you know, comments that we're getting in the chat about the 6 seasons and not enough time and all of this, that does start to play on you, definitely. And I try to stay away from spoilers as much as possible. Sometimes you just can't miss them. Like, who could miss the one about Winterfell being on fire? Or, you know, there was just certain one, you know, the set is what I'm going to. There's just certain things you can't avoid online if you're subscribed to any other kind of Game of Thrones stuff, because it pops up on you. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? About literally, you love this show so much that you find yourself thinking about it, and then also playing in things like production and shit you never would have done for any other thing in the world. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't make sense, you know, to your question, Brita, about why would he suddenly change the way he looks at her. But there is this part where I mean, I don't see, that wouldn't make sense to me. And where I thought they were taking John's character. But we have to remember that sometimes when somebody saves you from something bad, you kind of think of them a little bit differently, because he was going to die, or his friends were going to die, and so at this point nothing would surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually fell in love with her. I wouldn't like it. I would not like it.
But why, if he fell in love with her at after the White Hunt, after she left his cabin on the boat, he looked completely miserable, and he was taking this deep breath. Why, after she left the room, why didn't he look completely in love? Why did he look completely miserable?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's in love with her, and I don't want him to be in love with her, but at this point I'm so confused of what they will do. But I don't want him to be in love with her. I want him to play. I want him to be playing a game. I want to see next season that he's been playing her.
There's an idea, like, if they really wanted to show that he was in love, he could have been like, no, like, stay with me, or like, sit with me, and like, talk naked, all of this stuff, like when he was on the boat. But there's a interesting question from Miss Cutie Pie that says, do you think John will be put on trial by Dany like Ned was if he finds out he's been playing her or doing treason, and that will be one of the things that Sansa will have seen before?
If we see that, that would be interesting. I want him, if she does that, I want him to be fireproof. I know I won't get it, and I know it's like really out there right now, but yeah, I see that happening. She's crazy enough, power crazy.
You guys, there's some good comments in the chat.
Like, she could easily put John on trial for like being like treason, for like going against her, but I don't think she would send him.
Okay, there was a question in the chat that brought that up. If I could find that.
Oh, there, in the meantime, as you're looking for it, we got it. Okay.
Miss Qwerty Pie says, do you think John will be put on trial by Dany?
That was the question.
That was the question, Jen.
She just asked her. She just asked it right now. Kenzie just asked it.
That's okay.
We just answered it. No, that's good. We were just answering. I was just answering it that I would like to. That she's crazy enough to do that, and I would like for him to be like, "Hey, you can't burn me." Plus, I'm undead, and yeah, all that stuff. What do you think about it, Jen? What are your thoughts about it?
I mean, that would be awesome. That actually, I mean, she could. I mean, if he doesn't stand, if he disagrees with her, she's kind of like that type. She's that type of person who's like, you have to agree with her.
Yeah, agree with me or die kind of.
Yeah. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, you have that one friend and that's what they like. They like you to kind of just agree with them sometimes. And so sometimes you just do that just to, go along, get along. But, we do know that John is the type of person, when it comes down to it, he's going to do what's right. Like, he's not going to let some truly crazy shit jump off. Just like he really couldn't do anything for Mance, but he did give him that arrow. I mean, that was certainly a kindness. So, I mean, we know that John's going to always do as close to the right thing as is humanly possible for him when it comes down to him and his people.
Yeah.
So,
comment here.
No, I don't think so. I don't think she would make that mistake. I don't think she's strong enough to go against him. I just don't.
Okay. So again, going back to the comments, Anthony Jordan says, "I think it's crazy that Littlefinger was the only one to bring up a marriage between John and Dany." With that, I wonder if Littlefinger actually spoke to.
Yes.
Like who
Maybe.
else could? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes, sir.
That's certainly something he would do. And I thought it was a little odd, too, in simply the fact that that's the excuse she gave Dario. So even she herself was thinking that that was a possibility. It certainly would have been the easiest route to secure the North, in my opinion.
that's kind of a continuity error almost, that she was like, she had the perfect opportunity multiple times to be like, let's get married. And he's like, when after season 6, she's like, oh, I have to go and get married and then do everything else. So it's kind of like, I forgot about that a little bit, but oh well.
Another question from Hamath. It writes here, it says here, main characters' arcs will be same in both books and show. Can say about others. The path leading to their end may vary. Yeah. So it has to end the same way. I don't want it to end differently than anything else. And then Patrick Cudmore writes, he became a pragmatic liar after trying to persuade Danny and is not working. He was forced to go to his final option. Yeah, I mean, you can only try, and then if that doesn't work, your good side doesn't work, you gotta do what else. You gotta do what or use whatever else you have. And he is just doing what he thinks is right, and I'm not agree. I mean, I am agreeing with him. If he needs to fake stuff for her, then let him fake stuff for her, as long as he plays it well. Because you don't want he has to be good enough to not be discovered, because she will just do stuff.
Yeah, that's the big question, really, because he can't really reveal that he was playing her too soon, because then she would immediately turn around and burn him or leave again. I don't know. He has to somehow keep up the keep it all up, keep on pretending.
Yeah, like he could easily reveal it to people that's not in the presence of Daenerys. Like he could, like when he meets up with like Jon and Bran, like, I'm playing her, so whatever I say is actually BS, but in reality I'm like lying through my teeth kind of thing. Like it's not revealed to her until like maybe the very end, or she never finds out, depending on what road we're going down. But yeah, there was a question, I think, from Samid, wherever I can find it, which says, I don't think Jon and Dany is supposed to be this epic love story. Kit didn't know when he was supposed to starting to like Dany. D&D should have given them a lot of direction towards that, and they didn't, which is true.
Yeah.
So. And yeah, because like the writers, like, they're supposed to start to fall in love in the cave scene, but they're like, or the actors are like, they're supposed to by the middle of the season look like they're falling in love. But
in the cave scene where she told him that she would let all his people die unless he bends the knee.
Yeah, like with the longing looks and all of that stuff. That's what they were saying, that's when they were supposed to fall in love. And how you were talking about how they, Brita talking about Mance versus Stannis in both Jon and Dany, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dany burning, like a comment here from Elara Gazuri. I think Dany, if Dany tries to burn someone from Jon's people, that would cause a great division between Jon and Dany. Jon and Dany.
Johnny and Dany.
Yes. Sounds interesting.
Okay, Samid Sand says here, she already told Varys she would burn him alive. She's going to burn someone important.
Yep.
Who do you guys think the candidates are? Like Davos?
For burning?
Davos.
Yeah.
Davos? No.
You don't think so?
Davos has to survive. He needs to live.
It has to be someone close to Jon.
I think she has to burn someone very important from the north, like Lyanna Mormont or some. Yeah, I think
Glover,
Lord
Royce.
That would
probably
be really
Royce, like the one who like spoke out against the Targaryens. Like, you cannot trust a Targaryen.
Or maybe Sweet Robin.
You know what? I'm sorry, Elmar, go ahead.
No, I was saying that everybody would be happy about that one, probably. I'm not saying I would be, but I'm saying in general, like, yay, finally.
It'll probably be someone that speaks out against the Targaryens. So
I was just
a
trying
leading
to think
choice.
of. Okay, I can see now why. I was just trying to think of somebody though who is well liked. I don't want to think Lyanna Mormont, but what could cause that situation? What could possibly cause that situation where she would be in Daenerys's line of fire to begin with?
Because she refuses to bend the knee, because Daenerys burns everyone who refuses to bend the knee.
Well, this is kind of going into my story a little bit, but it's like they have the meeting where Daenerys is presented to the Northern Army, and Lyanna goes, "You're not my queen. That is my king over there." Like all of this stuff, like kind of thing, where it's like she doesn't accept it because she only accepts a Stark as her ruler.
That's true. That's true.
Where like someone has to speak out against her, kind of thing.
And they did include that little note in the show where she sends that back to Stannis and says, "We answer to no king but the king in the north whose name is Stark." That's like a pretty big deal thing in the book, that when she does it, and they included it in the show. So I don't know. One is kind of given to have a strong emotional attachment for her. Plus, she's great. So
she's a great actress.
Yeah, she really played the shit out of that. So, and I see where they combined. She's more Wyla Manderly, actually. But yeah, she really played that well. Let me see. Squishy Eyeball says, "I wonder if Kinvara will come into play. If she does, maybe she'll be the one directing the burnings." Yeah. Okay. They didn't introduce us to this chick just for her to languish, or what do you guys think about this? Everybody chat.
I don't think the actress is coming back because she revealed spoilers for whatever season she was on, season 6, season 5. But they could recast that character.
Exactly.
But that specific actress will not come back.
They've done it before, and if they need to bring her back, I can see them bringing her back.
Yeah, just not that specific actress.
And she has an excuse if the face changes, right? She's just using a different glamour. So, hey, it's me, just a different stone and different base.
Yeah.
Hopefully people liked her a lot because of her features in certain places. A lot of people liked her. So hopefully they will recast a lady who has similar features, so people are happy about it. She was gorgeous. Yeah,
I thought she looked kind of like a more voluptuous Rachel Weisz. And I think she's really beautiful too. So I hate that she's not coming back or whatever. That I like it when the people are attractive on the show, obviously.
Eduardo Blanco, Lyanna Mormont is the kind of leader Westeros needs after the war. Exactly. Because Lyanna Mormont gets shit done. And she's like, 13 now in the show? We're supposed to be a 13-year-old. So.
She's a better ruler than Daenerys, so.
Yeah. Like, there's that meme of if Lyanna Mormont had 3 dragons, the show would have been over 3 seasons ago. So.
There's speaking of families and how they are, Targaryens and Dany and all that. Question here from my phone this time. That's how I actually get the best comments that I can. Not the best comments, but best way to getting me to see something. So Patrick Cudmore writes, "Honor and lying, and speaking of Ned and his perceived honesty, etc. Some theories around that Ned may be." I lost that comment. Just a second. So some theories around that Ned may be aware of the Stark family connection to the Night King, the crypt, etc. So Jon, always being fully honest, may run in the family. Any thoughts?
I don't think so.
No, probably not. Because he kind of like learned, I guess, that lying, like when he learns about lying, that his father did.
And we've talked about this before too, though. Like lying and omitting the truth are not really the same, and we've seen that kind of tactic being used before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Sonia. Okay, Sonia Kinney says GRRM worked in I know who worked on Beauty and the Beast and Twilight Zone and a few other shows. There are no spoilers this year. Read recent cast interviews. I
think the whole exploding or like the whole their scripts come and then they're immediately deleted is a thing to make us like troll. Is a troll form of trolling, I guess.
Yeah,
that doesn't actually make sense at all. That as soon as they film that specific scene, it's gone from the internet. Like this is 2018. There are hackers that can figure that out pretty easily. So
I try not to look at like specifically when you see things that says this is a cast leak video or whatever, or a script leak video or whatever. I don't watch it, So haven't really. I guess I saw where one of them was going to be on the late night show the other night. Was it Maisie Williams? But I fell asleep on the couch. So I guess we need to.
It was Sophie that was on.
Okay.
And
I did read a couple articles about it.
Yeah.
About what she said or about not reading too much into the tattoo, I guess. Was that the gist of it?
Yeah, it was basically talking about like because people have been insinuating that the pack survives with the dire wolf is spoilers to that all of her and her family survives in the end, but she's like, I just like it because it's her character's family's like motto technically, and that it's like her tattoo for the show that she's been on for most of her acting career.
To be honest, at first when I saw it, I thought it was just, I don't know. I was just gonna wait a while and see if like that was even real.
So if you had a choice to see, okay, because we're thinking that John is his new self, like he changed and all that. If you had a choice to find out that he didn't change and he's gonna be disappointing, would you like to know that, or would you want to keep hoping, be in this until we find out what they do? We won't know anything. We can speculate. If it turns out like you were wrong, I mean, I would hate it. That's why I'm avoiding spoilers. I'm not clicking away, but I'm not actively looking for any spoilers. I don't want to see what happens. What about you? I don't remember listening or hearing you, Brita. What did you say? Like, are you avoiding spoilers, or are you okay with spoilers?
I hate spoilers, really. I avoid them if I can. But what I really like, I like set photos. Photos of the actors on set or of set pieces. I couldn't avoid all the leaked scripts from last season. It was really impossible because I'm on YouTube and I'm on Twitter and I'm in a few discussion groups and everyone was talking about it, so I couldn't avoid it, and it was so annoying. And this season I really try to avoid whatever I can. I really hate it, but I don't believe anything really unless I see it on screen. So.
Exactly, because we can hear anything and everything. We can hear, oh, this is a script, and it can look like a script. Anybody can make something look like a script.
Right.
Yeah,
I thought the same.
I thought that DenLady would leak a fake script on purpose to distract everyone. They didn't do that, unfortunately. Not
or yet. Like a page or whatever. Like...
Yeah. I would do that.
Yeah, to send the trolls.
Right.
Yeah. Or even now they have so much money for the season. So even before any filming or anything started, I said to myself that I don't want to be spoiled for this coming up season, and I would love for them to do some fake scenes. And I keep hearing, who knows, maybe there are going to be fake scenes. So even if people take a picture of something that happened, it's not going to be it may not even be it. They maybe are just paying them extra to do, extra stuff, and nobody will know what really happened. I would love for that to be true. I would love if that were true.
I read a few things and someone told me something and it all sounded like pretty bad fan fiction, but I was thinking exactly the same thing about last season and it all turned out to be true. Yeah, it's really difficult.
Yeah, there's like people who come up with like multiple endings, and it's kind of just like they make like a whole like outline. Like I think some YouTubers like have it where it's come out with like a whole like outline, like this all happens, and then this all happens, and this all happens in this episode, and that episode, and that other thing. Like I kind of look at stuff, but I'm also kind of just like, whatever. Like so when they're like, this person shows up at this location, you're kind of like, okay, that's where this person's gonna go, and all of that.
I am the same, and there would have been a time where I would have absorbed any piece of information I could have got with the sponge, but 3 people quit at my work this week, and I'm just really busy. So I like work your shift, people. Okay.
Yeah, like how Santa dies every season in the lead scripts.
Yes, okay. Like, and she's always dying. She's always turning on her family. The girl always dying and turning on her family, no matter what season it is.
Santa is a power hungry.
She's eating evil bitch and all this. The other thing.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I don't even contemplate that anymore. I mean, I don't know what else she needs to do to convince people, you know?
They're just butthurt from like what she did when she was 12 years old in season 1. So they can't get over that fact. But just the simple fact. And even after her being tortured by Ramsay, they're just like, she's still a little bitch, though, but whatever.
Yeah, people just, they need to move on a little bit. I mean, come on, how much hate can you have for one person? I mean, you're okay. We are supposed to see how they're changing, right? Like how Jamie is changing, how Danny is like people are supposed to change. So, and we're supposed to look at that change. And if somebody tells me that Sansa hasn't changed, well, I don't know what show they're watching.
Right. I don't know what book they're reading or whatever.
They're not watching what we're watching. And if they're so stuck in that, oh, Sansa this, well, I'm sorry, but you can't look at things from, if you can see Jamie changing, then you should be seeing Sansa changing. And if you can see that, I don't know, reevaluate your I don't know. Just it's
like I don't care about really what everybody says about Sansa, but like when you saw her being like raped on her wedding night by Ramsay and having Ramsay make Theon watch her like being raped and then finding out how she's probably been cut and like beaten and all of that stuff, and you can say, oh, she's still like a whiny little bitch. Like after that, it's like, really, like after, like if a person you knew went through that, you would like, even if they started like that when they were younger, and you saw them go through that in real life, you would be like, what? No. So,
but like I say, like common sense and all that. Not everything is so common here, just because it makes people in real life are not any better than on a show. So, plus we love hating, right? We love to hate on some characters. If there wasn't anybody to hate over there, I mean, what else? I mean, you have Cersei, you have I guess the Night King. He's not all that bad, I don't think. That's a different stream.
You know, if Cammy's Team Night King.
Yeah. So we gotta hate something, right? I guess on the show we're supposed to hate somebody, so some people are choosing Sansa.
In a story full of murderers and rapists and complete and worse people, she's the most hated character. Seriously.
Exactly. People are watching season 7 on like a loop. Maybe they're stuck. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't realize that there are more seasons.
Ladies, they're just watching the John and Danny sex scene over and over and over and over again. That's
all that matters.
That wasn't even a good scene.
Yeah.
And it's not the actors. They're great actors. There's more behind it.
Yeah, like not to BS the whole Grey Worm and Miss Sunday scene, but they gave them a 5-minute sex scene, yet the 2 people that everybody wanted to see have sex, either if you don't like them or not, you give them a 30-second sex scene. But that's my point on that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last sentences. Give them what kind of what?
Oh, that Grey Worm and Missandei got like a 5-minute sex scene, which a lot of people don't really care for those characters, as they are like B-list. But the two people that the show uses in all of their marketing, John and Danny, get a 30-second sex scene. Is just kind of funny. And then everybody's like, oh my God, like after that. But
yeah.
But
no, I get it. I completely get it. Plus, yeah.
I guess they kind of made it for a mixed reaction, I guess, because you were supposed to find out that they're related and you're supposed to freak out and be disgusted, but most people are just like, yes, at the same time. But
I think the hype was so huge on that boat encounter, I guess. People wouldn't care if people who wanted to see it and were so happy about seeing it, they wouldn't care if it was the most awkward one, because they would love it anyway. People who are looking for a little bit more, like I guess I am looking for a little bit more better acting. I mean, they were acting the way they were supposed to be acting. I think they were not there. It was planned, so they did it, and for me, did not click. Nothing. The scene with Missandei and Grey Worm, that was obviously for me better one.
It was so choreographed, the whole thing, because at the beginning, he was at the bottom at the beginning, and then when Bran said he's the heir to the Iron Throne, then Jon was on top, which was foreshadowing. They were foreshadowing a shift of power there. It was all about the choreography and the symbolism, and it was all staged, and it all served this purpose, and there was really absolutely nothing emotional about it.
Yep.
Especially like when he stops, when they stop in the middle of it and they're looking at each other, that's kind of huh?
And his panic attack face,
Yes.
What?
Yeah, at that moment your adrenaline is up and there should be no panic. At that moment you're in a moment, not panicking. You can panic before he knocked on that door. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's all political, I think.
But Kit Harington is just a bad actor. No, can we talk about? I think I have to say this because I think he was so good in season 7 with this plot, and I think he's a very, very good actor, and I think he pulled it off really well. I think his body language in particular is very, very great, especially in that boat scene where he illegally bends the knee. His entire the way he's acting, his body language, the way he's looking at her for 10 seconds with these puppy dog eyes. It's so ridiculous, really, that he must, the whole scene is just, it's so ridiculous and grotesque that, there must be more behind it. And the way he's acting it, it's so awesome, if you look at it from this point of view.
And a comment here from Stacy27. John and Danny didn't even kiss first, followed by let me grab this one.
Yeah, a very strange, very awkward and strange scene by Miss.
And then Miss Chrono says that's how royals do it, Stacy. So yeah, it was very much at least for people to see any romance. I'm not talking about scenes for just other things. Romance, you need to see people kissing, right? I think for romance, not just other type of thing. I don't remember their kiss at all. I just remember them on top of each other, kind of awkwardly laying there.
We didn't get a first kiss, which
I'm saying
from an epic romance.
And it's not even like being romantic or whatever. No, if they're trying to show romance between the two, show them, sucking on each other's faces. You need to show some of that, and then they can do whatever. And it has nothing to do with George's writing, I don't think, because he may want to whatever he want to portray. But if we are supposed to see romance, there needs to be something more going on. Just not, doesn't have to be only below the waist, up here too. Yeah. Again, and that's from the comments and from my opinion.
Yeah, especially because it came completely out of the blue. There was absolutely no build up, no development, nothing.
Yeah, it was just like long stares.
Yes.
Or even it says here actually, Modiva79 says they kiss during sex. Well,
that's not really a first kiss.
Yeah.
That's not the first kiss. You need to, I think, first go here before you go there. I think.
And rip the clothes off.
Yeah, something. So show some tension, for God's sake. Seriously.
There was not even dialogue.
No, it doesn't have to be dialogue.
I think there has to be dialogue, or at least a little bit of emotions, communication. I know that's way too much to ask for. Communicate, getting to know each other, stuff like that.
Yeah. True. So I'm assuming he's being very political. Hopefully she's buying it. Hopefully nothing will happen to make him question fathering a bastard. And if that happens, well then wow. Like she's mother of dragons and he is some kind of reanimated person alive, but we don't know what he is because we don't know it in the books yet. So we just don't know. And the possibilities are scary. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he'll keep growing and not go back to being, gullible John.
Do you guys think that when John is questioning Missandei about her her ability to leave Daenerys whenever she wants, and she just quickly goes oh, of course, she'll let me leave. She'll let me do whatever I want if I decide. And John's are you really sure? And she's yes, of course. Is that actually what you guys think would actually happen? If Missandei at the very end, say God forbid or whatever, Grey Worm ends up dying and she's I want to leave, this place is too much for me, and she's no, or will she be yes, of course, you can go live your life or whatever without me, kind of thing.
I really think so. I think there might be a scene next season where she might want to leave and Daenerys won't let her leave. That's really one of my favorite scenes in season 7, where Davos and John are kind of Missandei she's so convinced about Daenerys. She's so, I don't want to say brainwashed, but she's so convinced and she's so devoted, and that can only end in tragedy. And I think there will definitely be a scene next season where she might maybe want to leave with Grey Worm, and Daenerys, since she does not have a good heart, will not let her leave.
Because she could be
yeah, because comment here, what if she kills Missandei because she wants to leave? Wow.
Jen, you're muted. I think you wanted to say something.
Well, I've been looking out on that for a long time, and I'm I definitely think either it's going to be Missandei or Tyrion. So either Missandei because she wants something to do with Grey Worm or whatever, or either Tyrion for Jaime in some capacity. You know what I mean? But definitely I've been looking out on that betrayal for love, and I really do think we're going to get that in the TV show. I think that's something that we're going to get. And I know people will be but I don't believe in prophecy or whatever. That's fine. You don't have to, but somebody's going to betray her before it's out, because people who are in positions of power get betrayed all the time. So is it prophecy? Well, I think it's probably just, quite probable that, there's going to be at least one person who doesn't agree with her and goes against what she wants them to do. So that's what I think about it.
Yeah. John's kind of I think she has a good heart. She doesn't really see it. yet, and when he's talking to Missandei anyway, and he knows that she's freed slaves and all of this other stuff, but he hasn't like seen it for himself. So, and for her person that announces all of her names, if she doesn't have her anymore, what's like, who's gonna start saying them now? Tyrion or Varys, or who else is gonna step up to the plate and be like, this is Daenerys, blah 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 blah, like all of her titles. Like she can't let her leave.
You know, I'm thinking with that again. There was when you mentioned her titles before in the beginning of the stream, and we were talking about Sansa and her meeting and Dany meeting, right? So if somebody actually starts with those titles, I'm just seeing Sansa kind of like nipping it. Like, okay, whatever comment Sansa would make, like she made a really good comment to Littlefinger, she just kind of like cut it short, like, okay, I'm sure you had something, whatever, something to say. Whatever that one scene when she interrupted Littlefinger. So I see Sansa interrupting that whole introduction. If somebody starts like saying maybe not a formal introduction, but if they're rushed, she'll nip it. I want her to nip it.
Yeah. If she doesn't nip it, she'll like roll her eyes, and everyone will be like, "Oh my god!" Sansa keeps rolling her eyes whenever something Dany is mentioned. But yeah,
I mean, it's just asking for it. The whole thing is just asking for it. Like it was asking for Jon or Davos's kind of a funny remark, and this is Jon Snow, King in the North, or whatever he said.
Or even
I
like,
think,
it could be like that. Lyanna Mormont is like, okay, we get it. Like after she's hit like her third or fourth title, she's like, we get it. Like let's get this rolling here or something.
I think Lyanna Mormont will definitely make some comments. Definitely.
Yeah, she's like, or she could be like, like if she wants to be really sassy, she's just like, "Where's those slaves that you freed?" Or like, "Where's those chains that you've broken?" Like, or even if they don't show all of the dragons, she would be like, "Where's your dragons?" Or, "I don't see them," kind of thing. But yeah, she either Lyanna Mormont or Sansa will be very sassy when they first have the first formal introduction of Daenerys.
Well, you guys, we've been going for 2 hours, and
Jen, the giveaway before you log off.
Yes, it is. Eduardo wins the T-shirt, and Samid won the $20 Amazon gift card. So if you guys could just message me on Messenger, it's Jennifer Wolverton.
Well, you may have to message Eduardo because I believe he left.
Right. I will let him know. I can get in touch with them and let them know. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in while we talk about this wonderful video that Vera Hexa has made and put out, Political John. If you haven't seen it, the link is in the description to her channel, and it's her second theory video. It's very good. It's like watching a program. So, I mean, be ready to really give it your full attention and watch, because it deserves that. And you can find me on Thursdays. We just talk about the book chapter by chapter, 8 o'clock at Lady Wolverton's Den. Okay, Pure Hexa.
Always saying goodbye?
Uh-huh.
I was just reading the chat. Thank you very much. Are we doing a part 3 or are we done?
What do you think? Can we talk about this any further?
Anytime.
If you want.
Okay. Well then, yeah. When
we can set something up too. Maybe just because with our schedules, I don't want to go into it in the chat because I know,
right.
And it's kind of at least for next week for myself, it's going to be kind of very, very crazy. But I'm all for it, and but I would love to be part of it. So I'm saying I cannot do next week.
I cannot. But I don't have time next week either.
Right.
Yeah. You could always do the week after.
For everybody to be on the lookout.
And then we'll reconvene.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea to kind of. So whoever's in the chat, we are friends in different places, and if you're not if you're friends with us in different places, make sure to subscribe to to us. I guess somebody is gonna post it somewhere, and obviously you can subscribe to us by. I don't want to drop links because I don't want to close the screen. But obviously, if you just click on the little icon on the little 3 dots that appear to our channel, our names, you can subscribe to us that way. And Brina always has this nice kind of like a pre-show announcement, so please subscribe to her. You will be notified. Yeah, you will be notified of it too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people in the chat who have just subscribed to everybody. I just hit somebody's icon and subscribe to them if I see them in the chat or whatever, and then you can be subscribed to as many people as you like. It just make sure you have your notifications set the way that you want them to be set.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll be back one of the Sundays to do part 3.
To talk more Game of Thrones. Part 3, John, Game of Thrones, etc. Because we know we can certainly veer off topic quite a bit, as has been pointed out, and we're sorry about that. But this chat is very casual. We like to think of it as a conversation amongst friends, and that's why we try to answer all the questions you put forth in the chat and everything. It's just very informal, I guess, is what I'm looking for.
But this channel, like on Thursdays, we do the book, but we also do a little bit of show, kind of comparison. So people who know us, we don't lecture, we interact, and we see what other people say. All we say is just our opinion. At least I never say, "Oh, it's gonna end this way." If somebody asks me a question, I think it's kind of silly. "Oh, it's gonna end this way." Like, how would I know how it ends? Come on, they don't know how it ends. So I never say it's gonna end this way. Nope, I'm just saying how I think it will end, or my opinion on it. So it's very, very friendly, and that's always fun.
Everybody's opinion is valid. You know? I mean, 100%.
And we, as I said, we don't lecture here. It's so much fun amongst friends. So it's always. By the way, thank you. And I know some of you ladies said it before, but again, thank you for everybody watching and listening. You're spending your Sunday, right? It's Sunday. What is it today? Sunday, yeah.
Sunday/Monday.
Depending where you are, right? But you're spending your Sunday with us. And for those who are going to be rewatching, and I see BBM just joined in, he says hello, and we're saying goodbye.
Baby.
So you can catch it. Thank you for giving us your 2 hours.
Yeah, thank you very much. And also, are you doing Westworld? Because I know it's the finale tonight, right? Everybody?
I am excited. I'm going to be watching it this time on my big screen because I'm back home. I'm not house watching anymore. I'm going to not be using this anymore. I'm going to watch an actual episode on my big screen. It's going to be fun. And we're going to be, so I'll probably drop a video, my reaction video, like a quick, it's not even a video. I do a whatever voice thing today. And then we're going to be going live with Johnny Be Crazy tomorrow. I think at 6 Central. 6 Central on Westworld. Kind of going in depth, and hopefully we're gonna have a guest. I'm not gonna say names because I'm not sure if she'll show up, but so hopefully we'll have a guest another again on that one. Yeah, so that's my
Mackenzie.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you again for having me on and kind of just going over this theory, and I want to thank the chat as well. And if you are interested in the story that I'm writing, just message me on like Bangers or something, or let somebody know, like Cammie or someone know.
Yes,
and then I can send it to them.
Mackenzie writes a very fine piece of fan fiction, in my opinion, and a lot of people love fan fiction. It's all over Amino, and she has some, and I've read it. It's good. It's my first ever. So
it's like, if I can talk about it for a second, just to preface anybody who's interested, it's basically my thoughts / ways that season 8 could go down in a way, a little bit as Johnny would probably say if he was typing this, a little bit more pro Sansa John, but it's kind of how it could happen, basically, is what I'm getting at with the story. And I should be posting a new chapter probably by tomorrow or something, but yeah. So, yeah. Awesome. I just have like beta readers right now because Lauren had given advice about other stuff, but never mind. But yeah.
No, I know what you're talking about. That's good because I think your writing is very good.
And speaking of writing, I wanted to ask again. I'll ask her off the stream, but we're gonna pick one of these Sundays. Hopefully Jen will have time one of these Sundays to do the stream, because if I need to basically commit to a day and tell my work people that I'm gonna be busy. I'm gonna need a Sunday, so hopefully we can chat a bit after the stream to pick a date so we can.
Exactly. So we all have a bunch of stuff going on, so we just have to get with each other and plan something. And with that, everybody have a good rest of the day, rest of the evening, wherever you're at, whatever continent you're at, and enjoy Westworld. And see you Thursday.